Hi, I'm Hannah, and I'm here to tell you about my practicum hours. I worked in a 3rd and 4th grade mixed classroom. There was about 30 students total, 5 of them being ELL students and 20 being English students. Um, the the help from the admin was awesome. There was a speech therapist who come in and help or take kids out if they needed extra help. Super cool to see the support system. Um, I'm not sure the parental involvement in the classroom, but I do know that the teacher herself was great. She would go around and label the classroom because she knew that she had a handful of ELL students, and to see that in a 3rd and 4th grade classroom is quite odd because the majority of the classroom can read, but there was always labels everywhere on the pencil sharpener, on the door, on pictures, etc. She also utilized chatty students, which I felt was really helpful. She would place the ELL students next to chatty students, and that would really, really help. And I saw a lot of conversation happening because the chatty student kind of takes over, and the ELL student, it feels comfortable. It was super cool to see. So going into my examples, I have one example that is 2 examples. So there was a student who was fluent in Spanish. His name was Carlos, and the teacher has these word study groups, and it's groups where they learn new words. And the teacher kind of goes around and helps students one-on-one, and/or they're in groups. Kind of depends on their level of learning. So Carlos in particular is fluent in Spanish and super oral kid. He likes to speak. You can see the willingness in his eyes to learn to verbally say things, but he really struggles with it. He understands a lot, and he really struggles with writing. In particular, he doesn't like to write. It freaks him out. But Carlos, in the word study, got the word bat, and it's just like a little card, and it either has a picture of whatever we're learning about, or for instance, this just had bat, the word bat written on it. And the teacher held up the card and asked Carlos, what is this? Or do you know what bat means? And Carlos, swung a bat, baseball. And he said, baseball? And the teacher was like, yeah, great, baseball. But bat also means something else. Do you know? And Carlos kind of thought about it and was just no. And she then gave him a hint, animal. And it was cute. His eyes all lit up. And he was like, oh, bat. And then it was great. She asked him what the word in Spanish is for bat, and then asked him to kind of repeat it. I thought that was awesome to put the 2 and 2 together, so that we're not just disregarding Spanish. We're bat is this and bat in Spanish is this. It was cool. I also witnessed Carlos go to his speech therapist, and they were playing a guessing game, and it was his turn to ask what your character has, and he said, "Does a person have back hair or yellow hair?" I understood what he was trying to say. Does your person have black hair or yellow hair? Granted, Carlos is forgetting your, and does is not der, but for him to be open and willing to speak was super cool to see. Without any hesitation too, which is great. So my second example is about a Korean student. She was telling another classmate of hers about her home life, and she said, "Sometime me sister help me and me dad bake cookies." Although this sentence is super comprehensible in my eyes, she also needs some help. Sometimes is not sun time, because sun time is outside. And me and my, and that's the one that I would probably focus on the most, is me and my, because I feel that's the most common one I noticed being misread or misused. So with all that being said, I definitely would love the help from the administration, which I know is not possible in all cases, but I saw that it was super helpful. I also really liked the idea of labeling in the chatty students concept, because we all know, like, what do you do with chatty students? If you move them, they just chat. So using them as a tool was kind of a cool thing. But I definitely would modify my lesson plans for students who were struggling in English language. And I witnessed this from the teacher that I observed, and she was really great at, like, dumbing down things in a sense for students, and not looking past them, which I felt was super cool, because sometimes ELL students can be overlooked. But overall, I had a great experience, and those were my examples.